We've got the backhoe running again. I got that hose replaced. Wasn't too bad. Guy charged me 150 bucks to make a hose. It's a main feed for the hoe attachment. It's got two lines that go back there to it. One's a feed and one's a return. And it was a main feed. 2,500 pounds is what it's rated at. 25 pounds of pressure. So I don't know how much they usually charge to make a hose, but that's the only guy in town that could do it for me. So that's what I got stuck with. But it runs again, and for me, that's a pretty inexpensive fix. I don't consider that an expensive fix. New tires, all new lines, new motor, that would be an expensive fix. But I got it running again. I got this little ditch dug to finish off this drain tube that's going all the way around the perimeter of the foundation. My wife and I were out here this afternoon, built the forms yesterday, nailed them all together. The footings they're pretty close to level. I think they're about maybe 2 or 3 inches off here and there, which isn't too bad. We got out here this morning and we set the grade and staked this thing in. It's got a stake every 8 feet, which isn't enough, but that holds it to grade. So it's all level. It's all level with each other, however you want to put it. The next thing I have to do is get this black pipe put in, this drain pipe, and do a little backfill with some gravel over top of it. And that'll help hold the bottom of the boards from sweeping out as the concrete goes in, as the pressure of the concrete pushes out on them. That'll keep the bottom of the forms there. I'll give you a good look at the forms and how I built them here in a second. I plan to put another stake probably every 2 feet, and then a stake going outward to hold the forms from pushing out with the weight of the concrete. I'll have a stake every 2 feet to hold them pushing in on them, to hold them in place. The ground is kind of soft on this, the west end, and full of rocks on the east end. So I'm using metal stakes on the east side, and I'm using 2x4 wooden stakes on the west side. The wooden stakes are going to help hold it to grade a lot better. The metal stakes, I could tap them in with just a regular ball peen hammer if I wanted to. It's not too soft as far as the inspector is concerned, but it's not solid enough to make me comfortable using metal stakes. So I went with the 2x4 wooden stakes on that. Let me get you a little walk around about the perimeter and show you how I built the forms. This is about the best view I could see to show you how I made the forms and how I supported them from moving anywhere. The plywood itself is only, I think, 1/2 inch plywood, 4-ply 1/2 inch plywood, so it's not super thick. What you should be making plywood forms out of is probably inch thick, maybe 1.25 inch thick plywood. But that's if you're a company that's going to make forms over and over and over again. I wasn't going to spend 35, 40 bucks on one sheet of plywood, which would give me 2 pieces of form. That's a lot of money. I don't know how this averages out because the 2x4s did cost me some, but not a whole lot. But I've got the plywood, a 2x4 standing up, and then a 2x4 that's horizontal underneath it. Now the vertical 2x4 gives it a little bit of rigidity this way, but it gives it a lot of rigidity this way. I can actually pick up, and this is 48 feet long, I can pick up on this corner and it will affect it almost to the other end. Probably 12 feet shy of the other end will actually pick up. The other 2x4 that I've got is laying down, it's horizontal, and it's screwed in. They're all screwed in from the plywood side. And that one's there to give it more rigidity from flexing this way. As you can see, it's fairly straight. Now I've got one stake every 8 feet and no kickers yet. And the kickers are going to go diagonally into the ground this way to support it from the concrete pushing out on it. Nothing needs to support it from going in because the concrete's going to be pushing out on it. And then I'll have some gravel. I've got some pea gravel that I'm going to put over top of this tube to help hold the bottom from pushing out. After I get done staking it, I should have a stake at least every 2 feet maybe more than that, because I'm going to have some stakes going down right past this black tube and holding it up, and then I'll have kicker stakes going at an angle in. A lot of time and energy into staking means you're probably not going to have a problem when you go to pour. Now, this isn't a super tall pour. The only pressure you're dealing with on the top is maybe about 4 to 5 inches of concrete. Inside the footing is going to be pressure, but it's going to be pushing mostly on the outside, on the bottom side of the form. The bottom side of a form is going to blow out before the top side is, just because there's more pressure pushing down the bottom side. So I'm hoping, and it's been a long time since I've built forms, but I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that I get this thing solid enough that we don't have a problem. I'm going to have extra stakes and extra nails on hand as we're pouring, just in case. The contractor himself that's doing the pour is also going to come out beforehand, probably, I don't know how booked out he is, but probably a week beforehand, and he's going to look at what I've done and tell me if I need to reinforce it or if it looks fine to him. I did work construction when I was 18, I think, 18 or 19. I didn't work for very long. I worked about 6 months, 7 months of construction, building bridges down in the Bay Area of California. And I got to see how they support big forms for bridges, big footings, the big headers that go underneath the bridges to support the bridges. And those are massive. Surprising enough, they use 2x4s as kickers. So if I'm using 2x4s as kickers on this, I think it'll be plenty. And I'm probably going every 2 feet. But we'll get this thing going. I got to finish laying this black pipe in here. It's going to drain. It's going to drain out that way right there. It'll go down the hill far enough so it'll be lower than the pieces that are in the house. And this is meant for the seasonal runoff, or the rain runoff that goes up against your foundation. It'll have a tendency to go follow the dirt up your foundation and then go down in to the bottom of your foundation. This tube obviously has the fabric on it to keep dirt and stuff out, but the corrugated pipe has little holes in it to let the water in. It doesn't have to be perfectly level. It doesn't have to have a perfect grade to it. As long as it flows most of it out, I'm trying to make it have a little bit of a slope to this side, this corner. But if I don't happen to get it perfect, it has holes all the way around it. So the water will go in the top, and if it sits in there, it doesn't drain out. It'll drain out the little holes in the bottom and go into the earth. And that's basically there. The engineer put it on the plans to keep water from slowly eroding away at the bottom of the foundation. The county told me I don't have to have it, even though the engineer put it in the plans that were approved. They said, you know, if you don't want to put it in, don't worry about it. I decided to put it in just because, well, it's an extra $200 and I don't have to worry about it. You know, why not? When you're dealing with a house that's costing thousands upon thousands of dollars to build, why would you worry about $200 and an extra couple hours of digging to put it in? So I went ahead and put that in. This area over here was a nightmare. I couldn't even get that stake all the way in. That's a 3-foot stake and the forms are 2 foot tall. That's as far as that stake is going to go in right there. I beat on it with an 8-pound sledgehammer. There must be a big rock about that far down, which is kind of a good sign. At least this part of the house won't settle at all. It's not going to sink, it's not going to move. It's built on a lot of rock foundation. For tonight, I think I'm about done. I'm going to go in and grab something to eat. Thought I'd give you guys a quick little update. I did get the backhoe going. I'm very happy about that. That thing makes my life so easy sometimes. Digging these footings by hand was a pain, but I did get it done while I was waiting for that hose to get made. And like I thought, about the time I was done digging the footings, I'd get the hose, and that's exactly what happened. But it's done, it's good. The plumbers are scheduled to come out 4 days, 3 days. So I've got a little bit of extra digging to do over there. They're gonna put all their pipes into grade And then I'm gonna have it inspected and then bring gravel in. And I think I need to fill about 2 inches of gravel and compact it, and then put my insulation down for my slab. I'm gonna have insulation up against the forms also. 2 inches R10, that pink high density foam insulation. It's gonna go right up against these forms, and the concrete's gonna pour right up against it. So I think I need to go check out what dog's running around my property. I've got a dog running around out there, probably chasing some deer. Maybe one of the neighbor's dogs got loose. Till next time, guys, go make something.